I want to see all commanders in the council chamber. Philippa, that includes you and the Witcher. Cecil, the gates are to remain shut until we're done. You'll answer with your beard if they open for any reason.
Welcome to Vergen, Witcher. I'm Cecil Burden, the Alderman.
Geralt of Rivia.
We've got a spare room at the inn. It's not much, but at least you'll have a roof over your head and a solid bed neath your ass.
Thanks, I could use that.
Scalen, show Master Geralt to his quarters, and visit Reverend Alcon's chambers on your way back to inform everyone that he has departed.
That is, that he died a hero, slain by the invaders.
Exactly. You see, Master Witcher? He's young but clever. We'll make a real dwarf out of him yet.
Look, another one. You let one human in and in no time you've got a swarm. Like ants there. I heard human women need only sit astride a man's pants for their bellies to puff up.
Bite his balls!
This shall be your chamber, Witcher. They say Selkirk of Gullet himself slept in this bed before battle. Didn't bring him any luck, but at least he was well rested before he died. Need anything else? Thanks, Skaven.
Stop stroking him and wrap him up!
Who's he? I think
He
I've
travels the
heard of
land, killing monsters for coin.
him. Who's he got those glistening eyes?
Sorcerers mutated him when he was young.
This world has to be.
Greetings. Don't try anything.
There goes the peace, eh?
Witches, an army led by a woman.
The gods, who needs this?
They're used to it.
You missed quite a scrap, gentlemen, and an opportunity to slay a monarch. There was a struggle and the prince was wounded.
You've all seen the magical phenomenon covering the battlefield. For any who still have doubts, this is no mundane mist, nor a petty fairground illusion. Most likely, we're up against a blood curse, an old and powerful spell. We do not know who cast it or why. For now, I have one piece of good news and several pieces of bad news. The good news is that Henselt and his army have been halted for the time being.
And the bad news?
The mist will grow. It may even engulf Vergen. Furthermore, wraiths may emerge from it.
Can they be made penitent? With an axe to the head?
In theory, yes, but I would suggest putting your faith in a silver weapon. Furthermore, the ghosts will weaken as they move away from the mist.
Is there any way to drive it off? Exorcise it?
A question for myself and Geralt of Rivia.
The Kingslayer?
Contrary to what old women at the wells say, he did not, in fact, slay any kings.
Course he didn't. Wouldn't hurt a fly, that one. Look at his eyes. You'll see he's the sensitive kind.
Whatever you may see in his eyes, few know more about lifting curses. Gentlemen, I do not require you to understand this phenomenon, but there are a few rules I insist you must follow.
Here we go.
No one is to approach the mist. It is mortally dangerous. In addition, we need to learn the story of the battle. For this, I especially count on the aid of Mr. Cecil Burden.
At your service, my lady.
Thank you. To lift the curse, we require some objects symbolic of the war. Ones belonging to those who perished here 3 years past.
Pugh. More scrap iron from that massacre lying about than lice in Cecil's beard. I thought curses were best handled with...
Please leave the thinking to me, Mr. Zigrin, and I'd gladly hear less from you from now on. The objects must be magically active and strictly linked to the ghosts of the fallen. That is all.
Let me be clear. You're all to aid Philippa and the Witcher. What are you grumbling about now, Yarpen?
It's something in my gullet.
Take a swig of wine. Now, to worldly matters. How many are we?
Saskia, you know well,
How many?
we dwarves are near 200. But don't judge us by our number.
1,000 peasants will come, though you'll get no precise count.
My lords?
53 knights and another 200 armed men. Not enough.
Henselt leads 5,000, 5 to 1 against us. What think you of that?
We are few, they are many. But we have our walls, low though they be. If we had archers, who knows?
Oh, for a regiment of heavy arbalists from Lyria.
We have something better. Yorvith's elves. Scoia'tael. Gentlemen, I give you Yorvith.
What do you seek here, murderer?
100 of the North's best archers await your orders, Dragon Slayer.
You wished for archers? Here they are. I take no pleasure in fraternizing with elves. But even a shit-coated stick can be a weapon. He burned down the villages of many in my horde.
The free peasantry is one thing, but a criminal with a price on his head in all the Northern realms? This is too much.
Saskia, say the word and we'll depart.
Hear me out. Yorvith came to fight for me. I trust him, and I know that he'll stay the course. Just like each of you.
How could you know that? He's an elf. Treason runs in his veins.
He's been fighting humans for a century.
But for the first time in scores of years, his fight makes sense. The Scoia'tael know no peace. They've died for Nilfgaard, for the Valley of the Flowers, in vain. They'd been betrayed and cheated. Now they have a new goal. The Pontar Valley could be the first state where no man would have to fear elven arrows when venturing beyond city walls. And elves and dwarves wouldn't live in ghettos or on reservations. First, however, we have a battle to win. You know who we're up against. It's a splendid army, brave and well led. They cannot be scared off or routed. They have to be killed. I want Yorveth to sit at the same table as we do. I want him to kill Cadweni for us. And I assure you that he'll do so with a smile, if only you let him.
If I'm to see a smile on that skinny face, I'm in. Yorveth stays.
Bloody hell! Father's turning in his grave, but a must's a must. I say aye.
Nay. You killed my men, Elf. Remember them?
If I hadn't killed them, they'd have killed me.
All right. For the sake of better times, and for Kedwen's doom, aye!
Down with the sons of bitches! Cheers!
Poison! She's dying. Take her somewhere safe and guard her with your lives. I'll gather what I need and join you soon.
I'll place my best warriors on watch.
Quickly, lads! A litter!
She ceased casting spells.
Saskia, is she alive?
In a manner of speaking. I've slowed her life functions as far as possible. Her condition is stable.
Do you know the poison?
Thaumadur, commonly known as mage pain. It has a terrible reputation.
An antidote must exist.
What can we do?
Treatment will require herbs, magic, and blood.
Not ordinary blood, I presume.
Correct. We require royal blood.
We could use Letho right now.
The nearest king is on the other side of the Mist of Wraiths.
You misunderstood me. It need not be the blood of a ruling monarch. It is the genotype contained in royal blood that is required. Kings issue from ancient dynasties. Over the ages, to survive, rulers needed exceptional resistance and strength. As royal dynasties rarely admit common blood, the strength of their genes remains great. I shall employ self-healing genetic therapy that will teach Saskia's body how to rid itself of the poison.
You'll have her drink human blood.
No, I shall inject it directly into her heart.
What kind of herbs are we talking about?
I'll need a subterranean variety of purple foxglove, known to the dwarves as the Immortelle, and an elven rose of remembrance.
Where will we find Immortelles?
They grow deep beneath the earth, which should not be a problem as Vergen lies on top of a mine.
How will they help Saskia?
Mage pain wreaks havoc in internal tissues. The Immortelle will help restore them.
Triss had a rose of remembrance. She claimed the flowers are exceptional.
Long ago, the En-Shay, who succeeded in cultivating the roses, enjoyed great respect.
Times have changed.
As have elves.
There are no elven gardens nearby. We must return to Flotsam.
Triss has a rose of remembrance from Flotsam. It's her we need to find. What else do you need to heal Saskia?
Thaumadur is a self-perpetuating substance. Any incursion into a cluster of poisoned cells causes an immediate chain reaction. Each tainted cell that is removed is replaced by 10 new tainted cells. To interrupt this reaction, I'll need an ungodly amount of the power. A water or air genie, or one of the 20 legendary rings of power would be best.
One to bring them all and in the darkness bind them.
Right. And then I'll have to run barefooted to the top of a volcano.
All right. Let's forget the rings. I need a vast quantity of the power, no matter the source. Find something.
An Immortelle, a rose of remembrance, royal blood and magic sounds like a fairy tale.
A poor one at that. No prince's kiss to top things off.
I wish it were a fairy tale, especially a poor one, as a happy ending would then be inevitable. May I count on your help, Geralt?
You may. What about the Battle of Wraiths?
I must first see if the spells keeping Saskia alive are in order. Then we'll consider how best to send the spectres to their rest. Actually, you could tend to that yourself. Ask the locals about the battle. Maybe you'll learn something.
In that case, I shall search for the poisoner.
Only Philippa Eilhart may enter.
People of Vergen, we have a magical mist full of ghosts just outside our walls, so you'd better think twice before entering it. The mist, may the plague take it, threatens all manner of creatures, so anyone headed to the quarries or walking through the gullies should take exceptional heed. The squirrels that have made camp by the burnt huts are not our enemies, so says Saskia. So it is. Master Geralt of Rivia and Sorceress Philippa Eilhart will deal with the mist and the wraiths. And now, open the gates and get to work.
My pentacles intrigue you?
Indeed. I'd like to see them up close.
Let's start with introductions then. I'm Felicia Corey, and you're Geralt of Rivia. Why the surprised face? I heard about you in school. Whether you like it or not, you're a hero of contemporary history, and of the love stories we read beneath our blankets.
You studied at Aretusa?
Yes, though I'm still to finish my potion and fetish internship, which is why I'm here.
And you're doing it under Philippa Eilhart's watchful eye. Any way I can help you?
Help from a hero of our readers? Now that's drawing on sources for real. I'd be grateful. The locals are reluctant to buy magic items, and I really need to pass.
Let's see what I can do.
Hey!
How do you see? Do the gods favor thee?
So it's really haunted. What's going on?
It is. They should make it a mandatory pilgrimage for young clerics. They truly believe it.
I must talk to you, Witcher.
What's going on?
I'm Elias, of Yorveth's commando. I have an urgent matter.
Tell me.
Men from Vergen have been disappearing for some time. We recently found some of their corpses, so it doesn't seem to be desertion.
I need to see the corpses.
They're all buried.
Where?
Beneath a mound in the forest behind Vergen, but you shouldn't go there.
Why not?
Desecrating graves is a serious offense. The families of the dead will be furious.
What state were the bodies in?
They looked gruesome. Nothing an elf would have done, nor a human.
Where did you find the bodies?
In different places, mainly in the burned village near the ravine that leads to the town.
Only men among the victims?
Young men, humans and elves.
I don't work for free.
You'll get your reward. Do well, and I may give you something more than coin. We're losing good men.
I'll see what I can do.
Let me tell you about the woman who fell from the sky.
Ach, you've told that story 1,000 times. I've heard enough of flying women.
It was very unusual.
What would be unusual is if you return home sober for once. You won't trick me into buying you around.
Geralt! Come on!
Geralt, sit down. We haven't yet celebrated your raid into the mist. Sorry. Where are my manners? Sheldon Skaggs, veteran of the battles of Sodden and Brenna.
And all inns along the way.
You've already met Svergen's elder?
Greetings.
Gentlemen, not sure about you, but my throat's parched from all these greetings.
Funny, those were the first words out of your mouth.
Master Dandelion's right. Around for everyone! On me!
I'll gladly wash the road's dust from my throat, especially in such good company.
Too bad Caleb Stratton's not here. May he rest in peace.
A worthy dwarf he was. Here's to him.
Sheldon, you're lagging behind.
I've got a little screw coming tonight.
More reason to drink makes you more vigorous.
My prick withers like an old crone's tits if I drink.
Tie a carrot to it.
So, what brings you here, Geralt?
Ever heard of a unit called the Dunbanner? Apparently they left their standard behind during the last war. I need to find it if I'm to lift the curse.
Aye. The standard lies in a crypt with those of the unit who perished here.
Where's this crypt?
Not the easiest place to find. Turn right past the market and look for a passage carved right through the rocks. That'll lead you to a valley filled with tombs and crypts.
To the fallen!
Have you ever heard of a plant called the Dwarven Immortelle?
Have we? The pigs have tight arses.
To tell the truth, I've no idea, Skaggs.
It's just a saying.
You're the only one using it.
Witcher, the Immortelle. It appears most often near anthracite and aluminosilicate deposits.
Philippa needs it to heal Saskia.
A rare curio, but there's a mine nearby, and who knows? You might find it deep underground.
Why are you dwarves fighting for Saskia?
If I had a knack for business, I'd be sitting on my arse in my own inn, not giving a shit for this war. But what's my trade? Axe swinging. That's what. And if I could get killed, I'd rather know what I'm risking my neck for.
The woman's cuckoo, ready to spit in the Emperor's face even. But I have to admit, she knows all about warcraft. And damn it, she's right. Free Vergen, no matter if you're a dwarf, man or mangy elf.
Do you hear him, Zigrin? Down on the elves already. But I bet he wouldn't sniff at 30 additional archers in battle.
Is the mine far?
Not at all. It's in Verger itself, in the town's upper quarter.
You're eager for this expedition, but nobody told the Witcher that the mine's closed.
Closed, that's true. But it's long overdue a cleaning. Weed out all the underground shit.
What are you talking about?
Not a month ago, miners started disappearing. Must have tapped the wrong vein and woken some scum from the deep. We wanted to send a crew of stout fellows in, but Saskia said she needs all the soldiers she can find up top and ready to defend the town. We closed the shaft, fearing the filth would emerge and overrun us all.
Looks like we arrived just in time, eh, Geralt?
So it seems. Let's go.
Right on. With this crew, we needn't fear any monster. How about you, Sheldon? You coming with us, or staying around to get your fuck?
Another chance like this won't come around in a hurry. Fucking can wait. I'm with you.
Let's meet at the mine's entrance.
One freak bigger than the next.
Good thing you're here, Geralt. A rhyme for wonder?
I'm no poet.
I know, but you have good ideas sometimes.
Yonder?
Good!
Writing a sonnet for your new muse?
Better than that. I'm composing an anthem for Vergen. Want to hear the first version?
No.
Listen. May those who dream of freedom arise, seeing the sight of liberty with their eyes. Let us go together, become our brother. The choice is yours, you know there's no other. How far shall we venture in this great wonder? Elf, dwarf, and human set forth together yonder. Like it?
It rhymes, kind of.
All right then, tell me what you discovered.
My memories and feelings seem inextricably linked. I seem to be recovering both. I believe Yennefer's alive, and I'll eventually find her.
Triss, Yennefer, that's some life you lead, my friend.
First off, we have no idea if Yennefer's still alive. Second, we have no idea if Triss is alive.
True. You seem to have two women, when in fact, you don't even have one.
Their kind doesn't die easily. I believe I'll find Triss, alive.
And Yennefer?
I won't know what to do about her until I see her. My memory's coming back. It's just bits and pieces so far, but I can feel them coming together, forming a whole.
What have you remembered?
A voyage, an endless trek south. I was following Yennefer in the wild hunt. I have no idea how long. It got cold. Only old people were left in the villages I passed through, but they all refused to tell me what had happened to the young, to their children. I finally pressed a man for information. He blamed it on wolf packs, on an outburst of drowners and rot fiends. No one mentioned the wild hunt.
Did you catch up to the hunt?
I don't know.
Got anything you can follow?
I'm looking. You once mentioned some elven poems about the hunt.
I believe I said they could exist, and they'd be old. I don't know any, but look around. You're pretty good at finding things.
Yorvith seems to have changed.
Everyone changes here. Except you, of course.
I'm not sure I like changes of that kind. I find them hard to believe.
You're an idiot. Saskia's giving Yorvith a chance. If he uses it well, he'll finally be able to emerge from that hole in the ground he's been living in for years. That's the least of it. If he plays his cards right, he can win everyone's respect. People only remember what they want to remember.
I suppose you're right. A free state in the Pontar Valley could turn Yorvith from a brigand into a knight.
Which is why it's useless to wonder why he's changed. I wouldn't trust him with my child, but who knows what he'll become.
One thing's for sure, Letho's not on this side of the fog.
If you wanted to pursue the assassin, you should have gone to Henselt's camp with Roach.
Just because I went after Triss doesn't mean I've forgotten about Letho.
Why do you care so much? It's not your coop or your chickens.
Letho knows a lot about me. There are certain things that probably only he can explain.
I'm not so sure you want to know them.
We'll see.
Let's say you catch him. What then?
He'll pay for his crime.
Punishments vary.
But there's only one punishment for murder. Is it my imagination, or have you become a propaganda mouthpiece for the court?
You know what I really like about this place? There is no court. People are with Saskia because they want to be, not because they have to or should be.
You have a tendency to go from one extreme to the other.
And you have a tendency to shit on every ideal, even the most noble.
I try to take an objective view of the world.
Yet you've joined us. You have, haven't you?
I'm on Vergen's side, at this time.
Don't want to commit, eh? Well, Vergen isn't some whore you can just screw and forget.
You're right. Once you're on a teetering bridge, you might as well cross it.
Finally, spoken like a man. Oh, sorry, that was racist. Wise words, Witcher.
Look, another one. You let one human in and in no time you've got a swarm.
You won't trick me into buying you around.
I heard human women need only sit astride a man's pants for their bellies to cover.
Greetings.
Oh, a witcher.
Pale face, eyes like embers. He raised his hand and pointed a finger at...
Pray tell, what compels you to disturb the Prince of Edirn, Witcher?
I have a few questions.
And you believe I should answer them instead of setting my dogs on you?
I think your Royal Highness has enough foes, here, abroad, in Vengerberg.
The intricacies of succession are not something I wish to discuss with an itinerant monster slayer.
I'm trying to figure out where this fog came from. What exactly happened here 3 years ago?
Hensel's mages committed mass murder. A dark day for the knighthood and all people of honor. But it was honor that allowed us to survive. There was no defeat, no victory. Honor stood against wickedness, virtue against black magic.
You took part in that battle?
My father stayed in the capital. He was to defend Vengerberg. I took to the field. I wanted to stop Henselt before he crossed the Pontar, but I was too late. So I decided to await him at Vergen. Henselt's army was exhausted. We would have triumphed if not for that heinous act. Henselt had mages with him, and they cast a treacherous spell on the entire battlefield. A fiery rain fell from the heavens. Destructive, murderous embers which brought the battle to an end. I gathered the few survivors and withdrew deep into the country. The soldiers were terrified, but Henselt showed no desire to pursue.
Only a master mage could have cast such a powerful spell, and I suspect he could not have accomplished it alone.
I remember Sabrina Glevissig. Through the flames I saw her observing the carnage from her mount, dressed in a hunting suit. Straight-backed, dispassionate.
Sabrina. If I remember correctly, she's Henselt's advisor.
Was. Henselt condemned her to death for casting that spell. The Kedwenis roasted in their armour, just the same way the Edirnians did. You know what struck me when all hell broke loose? What I found astonishing and even amusing? Going into battle, we sang our Edirnian songs. They intoned their Kedweni hymns to Kriv. But when fire descended from the sky, our cries of pain were no different. We all wailed as humans. For an instant, the magnitude of the tragedy brought together our two warring nations.
I still have no idea where the spectral fog came from.
I'm afraid I don't know either.
Succession is the topic of choice in about every inn in the country. I don't know for sure, but I think the hangman of Vengerberg was the last to claim the throne.
My patience has its limits, and at present, only my respect for Lady Saskia restrains my anger. Come to the point, or leave me be.
Tell me, why are you here and not in the capital?
The influential nobles seek to undermine my rightful claim to the throne. Unrest ripples through the kingdom. Saskia has muddled the minds of the peasants, and the burghers demand more rights.
And your opponents are seizing the opportunity.
The Umraut family, in addition to being wealthy and influential, is closely related to the royal line. They could halt my coronation and put forward their own candidate. The families that remain undecided are the key. They must back me. They will do so only once I've shown myself to be a strong candidate. And greatness is something I can achieve only here, at the center of events.
And in the process, steal a little fame from the Dragon Slayer of Vergen. You might be surprised, Prince, but I have more political experience than I'd like.
The famous Geralt of Rivia, invited to the table by Calanth, Foltest's little favourite. I've heard you've even parleyed with the Emperor of Nilfgaard. Think I'm impressed? Calanth is dead. Meve curses your name when she hears it. Foltest was murdered before your very eyes, and the Emperor, as I heard it, he thought you insignificant.
Are you going somewhere with this?
Indeed. You should know that a king sometimes needs a hired thug to take care of dirtier deeds. If the thug is naive enough, instead of reaching into his purse, the king buys him with virtuous words, the flash of his rings, pledges of friendship. And when, having done his deed, the thug departs, swaggering proudly like a peacock, the king discreetly giggles. Truly, I never thought you could be so pitiful. Get out! Get out! Get out!
the peace say?
Pray tell, what compels you to disturb the Prince of Edirn, Witcher?
I have a few questions.
And you believe I should answer them instead of setting my dogs on you?
I think your Royal Highness has enough foes, here, abroad, in Vengerberg.
The intricacies of succession are not something I wish to discuss with an itinerant monster slayer.
I need royal blood.
As you know, I've yet to be crowned.
But blood of your royal ancestors flows through your veins.
True, but that doesn't mean I'll shed a drop for some vagabond. Are you a witcher or a vampire?
I need it to save Saskia.
I need you to live. Don't bother me with such audacious proposals.
I'm trying to figure out where this fog came from. What exactly happened here 3 years ago?
Henselt's mages committed mass murder. A dark day for the knighthood and all people of honor. But it was honor that allowed us to survive. There was no defeat, no victory. Honor stood against wickedness, virtue against black magic.
You took part in that battle?
My father stayed in the capital. He was to defend Vengerberg. I took to the field. I wanted to stop Henselt before he crossed the Pontar, but I was too late. So I decided to await him at Vergen. Henselt's army was exhausted. We would have triumphed if not for that heinous act. Henselt had mages with him, and they cast a treacherous spell on the entire battlefield. A fiery rain fell from the heavens. Destructive, murderous embers which brought the battle to an end. I gathered the few survivors and withdrew deep into the country. The soldiers were terrified, but Henselt showed no desire to pursue.
You wrote Vergen off.
There's a place in Kedwin where orphans are subjected to cruel experiments. 9 out of 10 boys perish from the pain. Sound familiar? They say that sacrifices are necessary to create one witcher, one hero to defend the people against monsters.
Not the best analogy.
You know nothing of military strategy, and you've never been responsible for a nation's fate, which is why I forgive you your ignorance.
Only a master mage could have cast such a powerful spell, and I suspect he could not have accomplished it alone.
I remember Sabrina Glevissig. Through the flames I saw her observing the carnage from her mount, dressed in a hunting suit. Straight-backed, dispassionate.
Sabrina. If I remember correctly, she's Henselt's advisor.
Was. Henselt condemned her to death for casting that spell. The Kedwenis roasted in their armour, just the same way the Edirnians did. You know what struck me when all hell broke loose? What I found astonishing and even amusing? Going into battle, we sang our Edirnian songs. They intoned their Kedweni hymns to Creve. But when fire descended from the sky, our cries of pain were no different. We all wailed as humans. For an instant, the magnitude of the tragedy brought together our two warring nations.
I still have no idea where the spectral fog came from.
I'm afraid I don't know either.
Be well, Prince.
Let me
Look,
tell you about
another
the
one.
woman who
You
fell
let
from
one
the
human in, and
sky.
in no time you've got a swarm.
You've told that story 1,000 times. I've heard enough of flying women.
Women need only
was
sit
very
astride a man's
unusual.
pants for their bellies to
What would be unusual is if you return home sober for once. You won't trick me into buying you around. Business or rest?
Rest. And maybe some trading.
Ah, welcome. How can I help you?
I'm looking for places steeped in magic. You remember any stories of sorcerers or magical places in the area?
Not counting the fire-spitting bits from 3 years ago. Well, a sorcerer once lived in the wood beyond Vergen. You could look there. Maybe something's left. You might also speak to Cecil. Nobody knows Vergen's history as well as our alderman.
Let me tell you about the woman who fell from the sky.
killing monsters.
You've told that story 1,000 times. I've heard enough of flying women.
It was very unusual.
What would be unusual is if you return home sober for once. You won't trick
One
me into
freak
buying you
bigger than the
around.
next.
Let me tell you about the woman who fell from the sky.
You've told that story 1,000 times. I've heard enough of flying women.
It was very unusual.
Nothing good in store for us. Nothing good.
Another one. You let one human in, and in no time you've got a swarm. Ants there. I heard human women need only sit astride a man's pants for their bellies to